This is a Louie T Network exclusive.
Hey, either you're outside or you're
in the lab room.
Draft Zone.
What? Could it be? Me, your me, Louie T. Welcome. You are in the lab room, of course. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me on the 2016 NFL Draft Wrap-Up Series, where your man, Louie T, aims to break down all 32 teams in the National Football League's 2016 NFL Draft using our baseball grading scale, single, double, triple, home run. There are no strikeouts here in the Draft Wrap-Up Series, as we cannot tell how these players are going to pan out, and I don't want to discount any of these young men before they get their chance in the National Football League. And so, we will get a score for each and every single player selected in said team's draft, tally up all the scores, apply bonuses when necessary, divide by the number of picks, which will then yield us a final overall grade for that team's draft. Then we'll move on to the next team in the series picked by you. That's right, you, the viewer out there, is in total control, as this is the You Pick format, or as I like to call it, the Up format. Simply be the first to leave a comment in the comment section of this and future videos stating two things: the phrase next and the team you'd like to see next. I really don't care how you phrase it, as long as those two components are in the comment section and you're first, that team's going to be up next in the series. Sounds simple enough? That's because it is, man. And we're getting to the final stages. I can see the finish line. I'm almost there. I'm about to duck my head, extend those arms, cross that finish line. We are almost at the end of this series, and it's been a very successful one. And I thank you out there for watching and supporting. And because of you, the viewer out there, the next team up in the series is the San Francisco 49ers. And this is a team going through a little bit of a transitional phase. And we've seen some changes of late. And Chip Kelly is now in the saddle. You know how I feel about the chipster. I mean, this is an offensive genius here. Make no mistake about it. I may kid and tease and make fun of Chip Kelly all the time. The one thing the man can do is coach up offense. Now, I can sit here and talk to you for 2 hours about his lack of personnel skills and even his lack of people skills at times. But nonetheless, Chip Kelly can coach up some offense. And there are some talented guys on this 49ers team, but they're lacking in a number of different areas. And I must say, once upon a time, the San Francisco 49ers were the it team in the league. I mean, I looked at the 49ers and I said, man, Trent Baalke kills the draft every year, and they're stockpiling talent on top of talent. They got stuff in the storage unit that they're not even using, that they haven't even blown the dust off of yet, that they holding for rainy days. Some of those rainy days. Well, now it's rainy days, and I'm looking at all that stuff that they weren't using, and I'm saying, hey, where all that stuff at, man, that y'all had in the storage unit? They're like, man, somebody broke in and stole it, man. I look at this draft, and I say to myself, damn, I remember when the 49ers were on top. And they used to do it so well starting here in the draft. And it seems like the dysfunction out there in the Bay Area, and Trent Baalke has a little bit of turmoil up there, and you really don't know what the hell is going on. I've talked about the situation out there a number of times, and I think Jed York is totally clueless, has no idea what's going on, and he has his hand too much in the everyday operations of this 49ers team, and he's driving it into the ground. And now I think he's starting to affect Trent Baalke and his ability to do his job, because I look at this draft before I start, and I'm not going to sugarcoat you. This is not an impressive draft. This is not what I'm used to from Trent Baalke and company out there in San Francisco. This is a meh draft. I look at this draft and I say, meh. I don't see any guys here other than your first two picks in this draft that are going to move the needle. I don't see anybody, and I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I tell you that all the time. I hope I'm wrong when I talk about guys and I just feel like they're just a guy. But I see this draft up and down except for the first two picks, and I say these are just guys. They're not difference makers. They're not guys that are going to come in, move the needle, become stars in this league. There aren't any guys that I look at and I say, man, I think this could be a guy moving forward that could change the game for you. Okay, I just don't see any of those gems potentially. Maybe one or two, but this is an 11-player draft, And really, I'm looking at 2 guys that I feel like are no doubters, and then the rest of the other 9 are, to me, question marks at best. So I'm a little disappointed in this draft. Let's talk about it, though. In the first round, we start with the San Francisco 49ers draft. Howard. Now, first round, 7th overall selection, Oregon defensive lineman DeForest Buckner is the selection. Defoe. Who? Defoe. I'm going to just go ahead and tuck mine in, man. It's Defoe. I've already broken this dude down, so I'm not going to do it here. I've done that in the Draft Prospects 101 series, but I will say this is a man amongst boys, okay? This is a grown man at about 6'6", 6'7", 290 some odd pounds, 93, something like that. This is a grown man. And the beauty of this selection is you're putting him next to a guy that he played with at Oregon in Eric Armstead. So now you've got 2 big grown men along that defensive line. If nothing else, this 49ers defensive line is about to be legit. Stacked, physical, up front, stopping the run, getting pressure on the quarterback, collapsing pockets. This, I can at least say defensively, this team is about to get back to where they used to be from a front 7 perspective. Now, you're not going to have the tandem that you had at inside linebacker with Bowman and Pat Willis, but this defensive line is about to be nasty. And DeForest Buckner is one of those guys where you look at him and you say, okay, we know what we're getting out of him. You got Eric Armstead, and I think he's going to start coming into his own in his second year, and you're going to start looking around and you'll say, if we can put a piece here, a piece there along this defense, we might be able to get back to a semblance of what we once were when we were in our heyday just 4 or 5 years ago, when we were in the NFC Championship game and we looked like a team that was going to stay there for quite some time. So in the first round, 7th overall pick, Oregon defensive lineman DeForest Buckner, aka Defoe. Who? Defoe. I'm going to go ahead and tuck mine in. It's hit hard. He's hit deep. Out of here. So home run for the San Francisco 49ers in the first round with defensive lineman DeForest Buckner. Love this selection. He was the best player available. That's what you do when you're in the top 10. You take the best guy on the board. Maybe you didn't need him, maybe you did, but he was the best guy available to me. There's no doubt about it. You take this guy, you stick him on the field, and you say, make some plays for me, big boy, and that's exactly what he's going to do. You go to the next pick in the first round, 28th overall selection, Stanford offensive lineman Joshua Garnett is the selection. This was a guy the 49ers traded back into the first round with the Kansas City Chiefs to select, and I remember when it first happened, I was skeptical about the pick. I'm like, really? They traded back in for a guard? I kept saying it over and over again, but the 49ers, and I talked about this last year, I talked about it on my mock draft, that the guys that they had starting up front, you can't do that and get away. That's not winning football. Eric Pierce can't start football games for you. That's not winning football. And so there needed to be some change up front. Look, we can sit here and talk about Colin Kaepernick and his struggles, whether he was injured or not. We saw all the surgeries he had in the offseason. You can't win at the quarterback position if the guys in front of him aren't protecting him. I don't give a damn who it is. We've seen Tom Brady struggle. We've seen Peyton Manning struggle. We've seen the best to ever do this in the NFL's history struggle when they don't get protected by the front 5 in front of them. So I don't really care who you put back there behind center. If he's not adequately protected, you're going to have problems. We saw that last year in San Francisco. Now, it did help that when you got a quarterback in there that was a little bit more decisive, knew where he wanted to go with the football, when Blaine Gabbert got in there, things started to turn around. The offense moved a little bit more smoother. So I can understand it. I can get with that. But at the end of the day, your offensive line wasn't good. It needed to be upgraded. And Joshua Garnett's going to do that for you. So this is a really good pick. 6'4", 312 pounds. Powerful man. All right, this is a guy that is going to move other grown men against their will. You know, whether they want to move or not, you're going to move, okay? And creates a new line of scrimmage as the next pro. He's one of those guys. And the thing I love about Stanford offensive linemen, you know, if nothing else, you're going to get a guy that can run block. Because at Stanford, that's what they do. That's their calling card. They tell their quarterback in the huddle, hey, if we call a running play, don't change that damn play. We're going to run the football. We're going to set a tone. We're going to establish the line of scrimmage. And we're going to be physical, and we're going to hit that team in the mouth. They're not afraid to come out, 3 tight end sets, run the football. I mean, they're a team that imposes their will on you. And I think Joshua Garnett in this year's draft at Stanford is the poster boy for what they do at Stanford, and they run the football with the best of them, and this is a guy that's going to help you run the football in the NFL. Bully in the run game is the next pro, and again, I don't really need to continue to harp on that. This is what this guy does. If he does nothing else, he's going to be a beast in the run game, and I fully expect him to come in and move some guys around and create some lanes for this 49ers rushing attack. We know, and this is the misconception about Chip Kelly, the chipster, that, oh, Chip Kelly's scoring all these points, he's going for 2. He likes to throw the football. He's a finesse head coach. Coming from Oregon, they're throwing the football all around the yard with Marcus Mariota and company. That's what they do. They throw the football. Wrong. Chip Kelly wants to run the football, and that running will set up his passing game. But first and foremost, Chip Kelly wants to be physical, and he wants to run the football. And so you look at all of the guys that have made it out of that Oregon program when he was there, a lot of running backs coming out of there with a lot of big totals because Chip Kelly was running that rock, okay? So he wants to run the football. This is a guy that's going to help you do that. Pulls and destroys at the second level. He was tearing guys up. I mean, I watched what he did to Kenny Clark out of UCLA was that wasn't cool, man. I mean, I don't think he has kids, but he's probably got a nephew. You know, he's probably got some cousins, some cats looking up to him, man. Don't do that to that man on national television. I mean, they were pushing. Look, their running backs devoured them. I think Christian McCaffrey went over 2 bills in that game. I think he set a Stanford rushing record in that game, matter of fact. I mean, they were really roughing up UCLA on the ground, and I think a large part of what they did in that game was Joshua Garnett and his dominance over not just Kenny Clark, but anybody that was in front of him that night. And so I actually saw him go up to Kenny Clark and say, "Hey, Kenny Clark, you want to make big bucks in the NFL? Dig on me." You kidding me or what, man? He was really killing them. And that's what I fully expect out of him at the next level, is for him to dominate the guy in front of him. He engages and finishes blocks. You know it drives me nuts when guys engage but they don't finish blocks. You get your hands on a defensive lineman, hold on to that guy, not literally hold him, but drive him, push him, move him, do something, don't engage and then separate. Okay? If you do that, guess what? He's still free to make a play. He engages and then he drives guys out of the play, and that allows the running back, in the case of Christian McCaffrey, to pick up huge chunks and get into the end zone, to get into the second level. And he's a fundamentally sound blocker. Not only is he good in the run game, he's also good in the pass game as well. He anchors and mirrors very well, so he's here with his. You know how we got that MC Hammer typewriter going on, and we see it at the combine all the time. And he said, man, these are some dumb, useless drills. This is when it comes in handy, when a guy's trying to get around you and he's right there in front of you. Wherever you're going, he's going. And last but not least, latch and snatch offensive lineman. He'll latch onto you and then he'll snatch you around. And so you think you're going somewhere, you're like, all right, I'm about to go, wait, I'm about to go this way. No, you're not. You're not going that way, man. And this is a guy that I think brings the complete package at the guard position. We underrate guards in this league a lot of times because they're the unsung heroes. They're not the tackles. They're not the guys that are out on the island that we get to focus in on. But if your guard positions, your center position isn't legit, if that's not right, your quarterback's going to struggle. There's no worse pressure for a quarterback than the one that is directly in front of him, coming straight at him. You can't run away from that. Hey, a guy coming off the edge, you can dip inside, you can move. Guy coming right at you, man, it's tough to move. When you just getting from under center and you starting to drop back and you look up and you got a 320-pound guy bearing down on you, and you better get your ass down on the turf, man. And so now you got a guy that's not going to allow that to happen. I think it's going to be a lot better for San Francisco 49er quarterbacks and running backs this year with Joshua Garnett on that offensive line. You go to his cons. He loses his technique at times. For a guy that's so fundamentally sound, when he's fundamentally sound and he's right, there's nothing you can do about it. From a pass protection standpoint, a run game perspective, you're not gonna touch this dude. He's gonna rough you up. But if he loses his technique, and I've seen it happen quite a bit, enough to feel comfortable saying that this next pro is gonna happen, he's gonna end up on the ground. You know that's a pet peeve of mine. Stay off the goddamn ground unless you're pancaking somebody putting a little bit of extra syrup on top. Unless you pancaking a man or you doing a cut block, you're executing a cut block, you have no business being on the ground as an offensive lineman. You can't help me on the ground. And he's a guy that when his technique gets out of whack, his base is too wide or his base is too narrow, he'll hit the ground, he'll hit the deck, and he'll be like, you again on the ground? Get up, man, what are you doing? So that's something that I'd like to see him clean up. Stay off the ground unless you're supposed to be on the ground. If not, need you on your feet, man. You're of no use to me on the ground. Not the greatest athlete. I'm not gonna hammer this one because he didn't have to be the greatest athlete. They pulled him a little bit at Stanford. I didn't think he got out there that fast. He's one of those guys that if you pull him out or you get on a screen, that running back's either going to put his hand on his back and eventually push him because he's moving too slow, or he's just going to dart right by him. He's not one of those guys that's going to be running 35 yards down the field, leading away on a screen, and give out that last block that's going to free that running back for a touchdown. Nah, that's not Joshua Garnett. He works well in tight, confined spaces. You get him out in space, down the field, maybe get to that second level, he can do that as well, but when you ask him to pull and be out in space as an athlete, not his calling card at all. But in the first round, 28th overall selection, Stanford offensive lineman Joshua Garnett for me. He's hit hard. He's hit deep. You can put him on the board. Yes, it's another home run. Back-to-back jacks to start off this San Francisco 49ers draft. This is as good as it gets, folks. It's only going downhill from here. So celebrate these first two picks. These guys are going to come in, help you immediately in the trenches, both offensively and defensively. Now, the rest of this draft is a crapshoot. Good luck. You're going to need it. Third round, 68th overall selection, Mississippi State cornerback Will Redmond is the selection. 5'11", 182 pounds. Good explosion and quickness. This is a guy that can move really well. Moves with tremendous fluidity. So I talked about the quickness and the explosion. You see him moving. He's light on his feet out in space. Gives him a chance to drive on some footballs and make some plays. He has ball skills. That's the next pro. 5 interceptions in only 27 games. And 7 of those are starts. So keep in mind, this is a guy with not a lot of experience. He was on that Mississippi State roster, but he wasn't getting a lot of burn. Okay, was pushed down the depth chart a bit, finally got an opportunity to start. And in the season that he gets a chance to start, he gets injured. We'll talk about that here in a second, but this is a guy that can make some plays on the football because of that explosiveness. A lot of people love his ability to move out in space and his speed. Didn't get to put any time on the clock because of the injury that we'll talk about a little bit later on, but this is a guy that can pick him up and put him down. And with his quickness, change of direction, it helps him drive on the football, make plays, be around the football. I think the best example I can give you of this, the playing against La Tech. One of the first plays of the game against a quarterback that you guys drafted in the 6th round that we'll talk about a little bit later on. And Jeff Driscoll drops back, throws the football out to the flats, and Will Redmond reads his eyes, jumps the route, and because the ball was thrown high, he wasn't able to make a play on it. If that ball is thrown anywhere near the vicinity of Will Redmond, it's probably going to be an interception. He was all over it. He drove on that football. He was looking to make a house call. Luckily enough for La Tech, that ball was sailed and airmailed, and so they got to live for another day. But that's what he does. Very quick, very explosive, can get to the football, has some ball skills with those 5 INTs. Not afraid to tackle. He's not a great tackler by any stretch of the imagination, but he's not afraid to get in there and mix it up. So that's something else that I like. He's very adept at blitzing. They will blitz him off that corner. He'll come in, he'll be aggressive. Saw him against LSU, come off the corner on a run blitz and get the tackle at the line of scrimmage. So not only is he blitzing looking to get after the quarterback, but he's also blitzing to come in and make tackles in the backfield. He's got versatility. This is something else the 49ers probably like with him. He's a guy that can play in the nickel. He can play out as a boundary corner as well. At 5'11", 182, we'll talk about his size and what that might mean for him at the next level. Speaking of which, let's go to his cons. He's got a very high back pedal that I'm not a huge fan of. And when you have a high back pedal, it hurts you in your transition, and it can also hurt you coming out of breaks. So what I mean by that is he's here to start. Most guys, you want them here to start a snap. You want him down here. He's up here, and he's really comfortable doing this because a lot of times he'll open up and bail. But when he's in man coverage, that high back pedal, he's here. Instead of down here, they want you down here. You see him at the combine all the time, want these guys to get down, have a smooth back pedal. He's up here. And what that does is it stops you from planting and driving fast enough. It stops you from coming out of breaks cleanly. And it also stops you from transitioning from back pedal to full out sprint. And so what happens with this guy is that players will get on top of him that aren't as fast as he is, but because he's wasting motion because his back pedal is so high, I think he needs to clean that up. I think that it's just a technical flaw that if he gets with the right coaches, they see that issue, they can clean it up. He may be fine there. Misses a boatload of tackles, man. My goodness. I said, God damn, man. Can you get somebody on the ground? He's just flying around, but he's not getting anybody on the ground. A lot of times, he's not even seeing what he's trying to hit. I mean, he's just throwing his body out there, hoping he hits something. A lot of times, he ain't hitting nothing but grass. So that's something that he definitely needs to clean up. He's not getting guys on the ground. His size, at 5'11", 182. The 5'11" is fine. The height is fine. The length is fine. To play outside, though, at 182, you're pushing it, man. Now, in your particular division, not a lot of big receivers that he's got to worry about. It's not like this is the NFC South or anything like that where there's big receivers everywhere. You play in the NFC West, not a lot of big targets that you should be afraid of out there in that division. So he may be able to play outside and make a living out there, but for the most part, I think you look at him, you look at 182 and you say to yourself, you might have to slide inside to that nickel, man. I just don't know if you got enough girth and enough weight on you to stay outside and make a living out there with the big boys. And finally, the biggest con of them all, 2015 torn ACL. I talked about him having limited starting experience. He hadn't started at all until this 2015 season, and he starts the first 7 games of the season. He's playing well. Boom, tears his ACL in practice, missed the rest of the season, hasn't been able to really run on his ACL yet. So I think he's starting to get to the point now where he's getting back into the rhythm and flow of things. Don't know how long he's going to be out for. Don't expect him to be ready for training camp or anything like that, but I do expect him to be ready at some point in this season. We'll see when that exactly is, but I don't know this dude. I mean, the limited amount of starts, 27 games played at the collegiate level, only 7 starts. Now you're telling me you got a torn ACL? I don't know this guy. And for him to be, and a lot of people are telling me, had he not torn the ACL, this could have been a guy that could have snuck in the first round. I doubt it. I think he would have probably been a second round pick, but either way, the talent must be there. I just don't know this dude. And in the 3rd round, 68th overall selection, Mississippi State cornerback Will Redmond for me is a double. He's coming off of an injury, not a lot of starts, not a lot of production. Now I will say, for that limited amount of starts and game action, guy had 5 picks, tells you he's got ball skills. So I'm intrigued, but I don't know this dude. And speaking of not knowing a dude, this next cat, if you think I don't know this guy, Will Redmond, check out this next pick, 4th round, 133rd pick overall, LSU cornerback Rashard Robinson is the selection, 6'1", 171 pounds, so another frail body boy out there. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but lanky, athletic cornerback, guys running a 4.49. You know what this is about. This is about that length, that height, and all of those things that the NFL covets these days with these cornerbacks. We like them long, we like them tall, we like them fast, and this guy fits that description here at 6'1". We're running a 4.49 40. Fluid movement and transition from back pedal to sprint. Unlike Will Redmond, who has a high back pedal, this is a guy that moves very smoothly out on the football field. The big game that he lays to claim is his 2013 game when he was a true freshman versus Mike Evans, Mikey, who was out there, Johnny Manziel, all those boys doing it up big at Texas A&M. He went up mano a mano essentially the entire day with Mike Evans and gave up like 4 catches for 54 yards at a time when Mike Evans was roasting everybody and putting 2 touchdowns on just about everybody he went against. Not that day. He was extremely physical with Mike Evans, which takes us to our next couple of pros. Physical in man-to-man coverage. This is, look, for him being 171 pounds, I will say this. Mike Evans on the first play of the game, They ran a comeback. Mike Evans pushed him, and the dude, it was a wet, nasty day at in LSU. I think they were at LSU, if I'm not mistaken. They might have been at LSU, may have been at Texas A&M. Either way, it was a wet day, and so he pushed him. Then Mike Evans and Rashard Robinson went flying about 3-4 yards. He's a small guy, but he was still physical. That didn't deter him. He was physical with Mike Evans all day, pushing him around, pushed him out of bounds a couple of times. He was physical in man-to-man coverage. He excels in press man-to-man coverage. So he wants to come in your face, delete the airspace, and get all up in your grill, be physical with you. I'm talking about the kind of guy that's catching an assault charge for the way he's laying hands on guys out there. So this is a dude that wants to be physical with the receiver across from him at the line of scrimmage and even down the field, which I think could get him in trouble at the next level because he's still molesting and groping people 20 yards down the field, and they let him get away with it at LSU. I don't know if he'll be able to say the same thing at the next level, but he's very physical and aggressive when in coverage, and he's willing to tackle. Again, willing to tackle and being able to tackle, two separate, different things. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Let's get to his cons. Rail thin frame. Okay, I just told you what Mike Evans did to him on a comeback, a simple comeback. Mike gave him a little form, man, get off me. Pushed him about 3-4 yards. He slipped and fell. It was a mess. Okay. Then he got up and said, "All right, well, you push me. I'm gonna push you back. I'm gonna push you out of bounds." He tried to tackle Mike Evans. Mike Evans plucked him like he was a little gnat. Man, get off me, man. Stop playing. You in the way. And kept running. And another LSU defender had to help escort him out of bounds. This guy does not tackle well at all. He's so small. That frame is so small that guys just bounce off of him. He tries. He's willing to get in there, throw his name in there, throw his hat in there. It doesn't make a difference. He's just so small that guys are stiff arming him and bouncing off of him. So that's something that you're gonna see. 5 reps of 2 1/4, just to let you know how frail this dude is. 5 reps of 2 1/4, man. I do 5 reps of 2 1/4 in my sleep. Okay, this is a really small dude here we talk about. 171, keep that in mind. A buck 71 soaking wet. Take it for what it's worth. Limited collegiate production and experience. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and lump this in with the final con because they really are synonymous with one another. So this is a dude that gets suspended from LSU by Les Miles in 2014, right? And you're thinking to yourself, okay, he'll be back at some point. And Miles said, "Nah, you're not coming back." And so he's still, like, it wasn't suspended indefinitely or suspended for X amount of games, or he's been normally when it's this long, the guy's been dismissed from the team. He's not coming back. They left the door open for it, but Les was like, he's not coming back to my program. As long as I'm here, his ass ain't coming back. And so he just said, you know what? He didn't come back for the rest of the 14 season. Les said, you're not coming back for the 15 season either, okay? And then he said, you know what? These dudes playing around. I'm gonna just go to the league. So that's why he's here. Then he also gets busted for breaking into an ex-teammate's room. And we're talking about missing laptops and all kinds of nonsense. Again, dude's a little sketchy. So I don't know this dude. I talked about not knowing Will Rep. I haven't seen this dude play since 2014. Okay? And this isn't because of an injury or anything like that. I haven't seen this dude since the middle of the 2014 season. What am I supposed to do with that, man? I'm watching film from 2013. Wash your face, man. Get your mind right. Where they do that at? Okay? So you telling me I gotta watch film from 2013 and some early portions of 2014 to figure out what this guy's gonna be in 2016? Come on, man. You need to wash your face. Get your mind right if you think this is a smart pick here in the 4th round. 133rd overall pick. LSU cornerback Rashard Robinson for me is a single. Okay? I don't know this dude, man. And when I don't know dudes, I get nervous. And when I get nervous, I start handing out random grades. This dude here, troublemaker, got kicked off the team, hasn't played since 2014, frail body boy, wants to be physical, but he weigh a buck 71. That's a single, man. Let's move on. 5th round, 142nd pick overall. Appalachian State defensive end Ronald Blair is the selection. 6'2", 284 pounds. Now, this is a guy that I look at, and this is one of the few guys in this draft that I look at and I say, he could be something. If you can figure out what his niche is in the league, what he's supposed to be doing, this could be one of those guys that can change the game. I don't know what his position is yet because there are a lot of questions, and we'll talk about that as we move on through his breakdown, but let's jump into this thing. Brute strength, okay, 30 reps of 2 1/4. Unlike your cornerback, Rashard Robinson, who's only pushing it up 5 times, this guy's pushing it up 30 times, and you see it on the field. It translates. Oh boy, does it, okay? He's tossing guys around. He's splitting double teams. He's being physical. He's being just a nuisance along that defensive line at Appalachian State. Flashes elite quickness is the next pro. And this is a guy that flashes that quickness, and you see it again. One of those things where you see it. There's no denying the quickness that this guy possesses. That swim move that you see, which is his go-to move, it's his weapon of choice. That thing is elite. And when he's on, that move right there is good enough to get him to the quarterback. It's good enough to get him in the backfield for a tackle for loss. It's good enough to blow a play up even if he's not the one making the tackle for a loss. So that swim move, very disruptive. Speaking of which, he's a disruptive gap shooter. That's what he does. He's a penetrator. He's a gap shooter. And we're not talking about one of those cap guns, one of those bang, 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 bang. We ain't talking about one of those bang, 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 bang. It's an automatic weapon we're using here. This man is in the backfield constantly. So he's a very disruptive gap shooter. Stout at the point of attack, even against double teams. So you're talking about a guy that's physical, that's stout, that's looking to blow up plays. He does his job sometimes. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but this is a guy you can count on. If you tell him, hey man, hey Ron, I need you in that A gap, standing up 1, possibly 2 dudes. Can you do that? Hey, I got you, coach. So he's that kind of guy. Versatility. All right, he's able to play, and they played him everywhere up and down that defensive line at Appalachian State. So I expect much of the same for the 49ers. And then there's some questions there, and again, we're going to get to that here in a second, but he's got versatility. I do like that. This is a guy that's a little bit more athletic than we saw at the Combine. He ran a 5.15 at the Combine. It doesn't look it on tape, and it's not the case. Goes back to his pro day, ran a 4.84. He really wasn't satisfied with that, but he said, okay, it's the best I can do right now. He actually dropped some weight. He came into the Combine at 284, went to his pro day, dropped 9 pounds, went back to his playing weight of 275. So again, more questions than answers. We're gonna talk about that a little bit later on. But he's got some length on him, 34-inch arms, which for a guy that's 6'2", that's amazing, because you don't see 6'2" guys with 34-inch arms very often, especially along the defensive line. Normally, you're that short, you got stubby arms, you can't really do much with it. That's part of the reason why he's so stout at the point of attack, is because he's still got longer arms to be able to deal with these offensive linemen. And he's got the ability to get to the quarterback finally. Last but not least, probably his most important trait is his ability to get to the quarterback. 21 career sacks at Appalachian State, so he's able to get to the quarterback, and that's going to be huge, probably be his best attribute as we jump into his cons. He's OC sometimes, man, and for those of you who don't know what OC means, out of control. He's out of control sometimes. In his mind, he's thinking pre-snap, I'm just going to blow this thing up. I'm use this swim move, get in the backfield, and we're going to see what happens from there. But what happens when you go into the backfield, they run away from you, and then they cut it back right in the gap where you were supposed to be, but because you're back in the backfield and you had no bearing on the play, you're not where you're supposed to be. Now it's the problem. You up the field, and that running back is taking off right up the gap where you were supposed to be at. He can be out of control sometimes, is basically what I'm trying to say. For as aggressive as he is, you can use that aggressiveness against him sometimes. He's got a weird frame proportion. So what I mean by that is he's 6'2", and I told you he was 284 at the Combine. It was some bad weight. He shed that at his pro day, got back to 275, which is the weight he played at. So that leads me to my next question. And this is the final con, actually, but it's more of a question. What is he? Is this guy a defensive end? Is he a 5-tech? Is he a guy that when you playing a 4-man front, when you're playing an even front, you put him at defensive tackle and see if you can win, and you put him at defensive end, see if you can win? Or is this guy someone you stand up as an outside linebacker? We know from time to time the 49ers like to play with bigger outside linebackers. What is he exactly? Do you want him to shed a couple more pounds and play outside linebacker? Or do you want him to gain those 9 pounds back, get back to 285 or 284 and play defensive line. What is he? What do you want out of this guy? I'm confused. I've got questions. I don't have answers. And I look at him and I say, at 6'2", you're not long. I mean, as far as height is concerned, but you got long arms. What is it that this guy does that this 49ers team looked at and said, we got to have him? I want to know how they plan on using Ronald Blair. Maybe you guys have the answer to that. I don't right now. I'd love to know. But in this 5th round, 142nd pick overall, Appalachian State defensive end, Ronald Blair for me is a double. He's the one guy in this draft that I look at and I say, he might be able to turn into a triple down the road. Nobody else in this draft that are doubles or singles has that ability. I don't see any of these other guys. Maybe Will Redmond, when healthy, is that guy, but Ronald Blair for me is that one wild card in this draft potentially. As we move on to the next 5th round pick, 145th overall, Georgia offensive tackle, John Theus is the selection. I'm gonna be frank with you up front. I don't like this guy at all. Don't like this pick, none of that. Let's go ahead and jump into him real quick. 6'6", 313 pounds. He's got good length, 34-inch arms. He has solid movement skills. He mirrors well in pass protection. He battles. This is a guy that will fight, and he has to battle because he's lacking in a number of areas. Good on the double team. When he's double teaming, he does a really solid job. He's got some versatility. He's played right tackle and he played left tackle last year at Georgia, and for all intents and purposes, he did a good job. The games that I watched, he didn't do a great job. So obviously, I didn't watch the right games, I guess. I'm just not feeling this dude, man. I don't think he's a starter in this league at all. Let's jump into his cons quickly, man. Functionally strong, and that's not a good thing. That's not a positive. When you're functionally strong, that just means you're just strong enough for your frame, okay? He's not a guy that is exceptionally strong. He doesn't stand up to bull rushes. First play of the game, okay? First play of the game against Florida. I turn it on and I'm like, let me see what this dude is about, man. Because you're playing in the SEC, so I'm off top, you get respect because you played in the toughest conference there is. So I said, all right, you in the SEC. Florida had one of the best defensive lines in all of college football last year. Let me see what you got, big boy. First snap of the game, okay? He's in pass protection. He goes to block the dude, and somehow he ends up spinning around. I've never seen this before, okay? So he goes out, they snap the ball, and he goes out to block, and he's like, hey, what the hell is going on? Why am I turning around? Yeah, good question. Why the hell are you turning around? And I'm like, wait a minute, I had to rewind it. What the hell is he doing? The dude pushed him and it spun him around. I've never seen that from a tackle before, where you actually get spun around as you're trying to block somebody. Where they do that at, man? That whole game, I watched John Theus get his ass whooped. I mean, literally, I'm watching Florida take that man's lunch from him. Give me your damn lunchbox and your goddamn thermos. And eat it and drink it in his damn face. He didn't get one bite, one crumb. He didn't get nothing, not a sip. And I'm watching him like, is this the same guy that they said was a All-American in that SEC conference? Like a first team pick? Same dude? So I was like, nah, I'm gonna watch another game, man. He can't be that bad. Put on another game. And I don't remember what game it was. It might have been like Alabama or something. Come on, man. Same thing. Same damn thing. Anyway, let's keep going. Loses to pure power or pure speed. Don't matter. Pick one. Have a guy with some speed. Have a guy with some power. Don't put them together. Don't do that. Please don't do that. He doesn't stand a chance if you do. But if you can separate him, it doesn't matter. He's still going to lose. Pure power, your bull rushing. I mean, this guy was dancing. I said, hey, look, man. John, this is not a club, bruh. Why are you dancing? Why are you dancing, man? They had this man on hot coals the whole goddamn game. This man he is running into the quarterback. Just boom. They just picking his ass up and dump trucking him. I don't know what you want me to do. I don't know what you want me. I just don't like this selection. And he's not good at the second level, but forget all of that. In the 5th round, 145th pick overall, Georgia offensive tackle John Theus for me. You know what this is, man. It's a single, man. Get out of here. You should have got out, but you a single, man. I ain't gonna even disrespect you. I almost gave him a double because he played in the SEC. I said, man, give me back my goddamn double, man. That's a single. Take your ass back to first base. We move on to the next pick. 5th round again. 174th pick overall. Ole Miss offensive tackle Fawn Cooper is the pick. Now, I like him better than John Theus. Not by a bunch, but it's much better than what I saw with John Theus. 6'4", 304 pounds. He's got vines for arms, 35-inch arms. He does a really good job of out-muscling his opponents. He's going to fight with you. Much like John Theus, he's going to battle. But I like his way of battling a lot better than John Theus. He wasn't doing pirouettes out there on the field, and he wasn't getting thrown into the lap of the quarterback on a consistent basis. So he'll sit there and fight with you, okay? He'll sit there and he'll tussle and wrestle and try to do a good job of holding on. He engages well in the run game. Now, he doesn't always drive and stay engaged. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but he does do a good job of contacting that defensive football player and contacting them in a very physical way. He's versatile, can play left or right tackle. Remember, Laramie Tunsil was suspended for impermissible benefits for the first 7 games of the season. He started all 7 of those games at left tackle, so this is a guy that you can rely on. I think he can be a really good swing tackle at the next level, potentially even start for you. He's gutty enough, I think, to start, but I'm not comfortable with him starting. I'm more comfortable with him being a swing tackle for you, a guy that's on the bench. Somebody goes down left or right, he can step in and give you some quality snaps for that week. Durability. 2 straight years at Ole Miss, didn't miss a single snap. This is a guy that transferred over from Wyoming, went to a JUCO. He said, this is some forward thinking here. He goes to Wyoming, he says, hey, this ain't big enough football. This ain't big enough big boy football for me. So instead of sitting out a year, he transfers to a JUCO, plays there for a year, gets his weight up, then comes back, lets teams bid on him, says, all right, Ole Miss, that's some big boy football. That's SEC football. That's big enough for me. Goes there, 2 straight years, no complaints. Guy starts every game, so you're getting some durability here in Fawn Cooper. You go to his cons. Lacks ideal athleticism. He's not the best athlete in the world. In fact, his feet are very, very heavy. You go on to his next con. Wide base causes balance issues. So this is a guy, his base sometimes is extremely wide. The feet are, you want your feet shoulder width apart. So you don't want your feet outside of your shoulders. You don't want to be here. You get here, now you're off balance. Now a defensive lineman come up to you with one arm, push you, and you can fall down. I saw that what happened with Fawn Cooper, where he's hitting the deck, and I'm like, what happened there? Rewind it, and I said, okay, that's what it is. Your base is all jacked up, man. So he's got to clean that up. Didn't see him get manhandled too often, but when he did, his base all out of whack. Like to see him sustain his blocks better. Remember I talked about him engaging, but he doesn't sustain these blocks well enough for me. His guy, a lot of times, is the one making the play. That's a problem, man, okay? You do a really good job of contacting, but you're not staying on that guy, and next thing you know, the dude that you were blocking, he's making a play. That's not what it's about. So I'd love to see him sustain his blocks better. But in the 5th round, 174th pick out of Ole Miss, Fawn Cooper for me is a double. He's solid. I can work with this guy. Not a big John Theus fan, but I think Fawn Cooper has a little bit more to offer than does John Theus. You go to the 6th round, one of these intriguing selections here. 6th round, 207th pick, La Tech quarterback Jeff Driscoll is the selection. 6'4", 234 pounds. Right there, that is ideal NFL quarterback size, if I may say so myself. Outstanding arm strength is the next pro. He's the guy that can let it rip, and he can throw it a ton, and it doesn't take much. Flick of the wrist, football's flying 55, 60 yards in the air, easy money. So this is a guy with strong arm talent. Moves well in the pocket with solid footwork. All of the things that you were expecting to see out of Jeff Driscoll at Florida, you saw it in this 1 year at La Tech. It just seemed like the light bulb finally clicked for him. There wasn't as much pressure on him. I could sit here and talk about the psyche standpoint of things and why he performed the way that he did. Offense fit him better. Again, maybe the level of competition wasn't as stiff. I mean, I can sit here and go on and on. For a guy that struggled the way that he did at Florida, and for him to have the type of season that he had at La Tech speaks volumes. Over 4,000 yards, only 7 INTs versus like 28 touchdowns. Talking about a 4-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio for a guy that had more interceptions than touchdowns while at Florida. I mean, you're talking about a huge transformation at La Tech. Great athlete, 4.56 40 is what he runs. We'll talk about that athleticism and how he uses it a little bit later on. Throws the football down the field with really good touch. I saw some deep balls that you couldn't have dropped it in there. I mean, he really breastfed these guys. I mean, he ran up and you couldn't have handled the football any better on some of these deep throws. So there was one throw against Mississippi State in the honey hole between the safety and the corner, and he dropped it in there beautifully in there to the receiver for a touchdown. And right under, right over top of the corner, safety couldn't get over quite in time, puts it right in there, takes a special throw to make it into that tight of a window, and he did it and got into the end zone. So he put some really good touch on some footballs down the field. Accurate when his feet are set. This guy 62%, almost 63% at La Tech last year in terms of completion percentage. When his feet are set, he's really accurate, can give the receiver a chance to catch it and make some plays after the catch when his feet are set. When his feet aren't set, totally different quarterback. We'll talk about that a little bit later on as well. And then the final pro is one that I'm really proud of him for, and that's mental toughness. He went through quite an ordeal at Florida. I mean, there were people out there calling him the worst college football quarterback ever, which is, of course, a hyperbole. They were extremely upset. Remember, they were coming off of the Chris Leak, Tim Tebow era where they were winning national championships left and right. I mean, Florida could do no wrong under Herb. Here comes Jeff Driscoll. He's supposed to be the next Tim Tebow. That's what they dubbed him at Florida, the next Tim Tebow. Talk about pressure, right? I mean, you saw Tim Tebow might be the greatest college football player ever. He's in the discussion for sure. And here comes Jeff Driscoll following up. Talk about a tough act to follow. Here comes Jeff Driscoll, all this pressure. He doesn't perform up to the level of the pressure that was put on him and the standards that had been set by quarterbacks previous. And he struggled, man, and it was quite a struggle. It was tough to watch at times. And he goes to La Tech, has one more year of eligibility, goes there and lights it up, plays the way that everybody thought he would play at Florida. And I think he righted some wrongs, and it took some mental toughness to be able to do that, because the talent was definitely there. That was never in question. It was always about what's up here, what's upstairs. Can you mentally get past the hurdles and all of the obstacles that have been placed in front of you mentally that you struggled with at Florida? Can you wipe those clean and get a new slate here at La Tech and play football? He did. So that mental toughness is something that I think he can take to the NFL and have that be something that works in his favor as he moves along in this process. You go to his cons. He sees ghosts in the pocket. He sees linemen. Okay, he sees offensive linemen. He sees ghosts when he's in the pocket, and sometimes it affects him when he doesn't need to. I'm watching him against Mississippi State, and he bails on a play where I'm like, you probably could have stayed in the pocket, delivered the football before anybody got to you. There was a blitz, there was a little bit of a rush, but it was picked up well enough for him to stay in the pocket, all right, stare down the gun barrel if it even needed to be stared down, and deliver the football. Instead, he looked at the rush, and as a quarterback, you can't worry about the rush. You can't be affected by the rush. You got to feel it. Now, I'm not telling you to be Robert Griffin III and be oblivious to it, get your block knocked off and fumble the football. I'm not telling you to do that, but I'm telling you to feel it, but don't see it. Don't look at it. Don't entertain the rush. Know it's there, and know in your mind, in that internal clock, if you got to get out or not. And sometimes not only does he feel that rush, he sees it and he starts running. He sees ghosts even when there aren't linemen there. He sees them and he's thinking to himself, I need to get the hell out of Dodge. It's just like Florida all over again. I gotta go. And so that's something he definitely needs to work on, and that's all up here. Inaccurate when the footwork goes awry. That's probably his biggest problem. When there's some throws there where you're like, dude, if you just set your feet, that's an easy throw for you. I've seen you make that throw 1,000 times. Now you kind of got happy feet back there. You're shuffling around, and all of a sudden now you can't make the throw. Settle down. Set your feet. Make the throw. I know you can make that throw. And And that's what I talked about earlier. The completion percentage, nice. It's a nice number, but it's not as good as it could be. And I talked about him being accurate when the footwork is right. Here's what I'm talking about. When that footwork isn't, football usually sails on him. He'll throw a high ball in quick, fast, and in a hurry. Ball will sail, and that's a lot of times over the middle. That's a recipe for disaster. And so, matter of fact, threw a pick 6 against Mississippi State on that exact type of play. Footwork got all out of whack, airmails it to the safety. And it was actually a really good play by the safety. He didn't see the safety, but the ball was high, didn't see the safety. He steps in front of the pass, picks it off, takes off, goes to the house. So again, that's something that he's going to have to work on at the next level. 4.56 40, that's straight line speed, folks. He didn't have a lot of agility or quickness to get away from the rush. I'd like to see him run a little bit more. Sometimes when the pocket is collapsing around him, I'm like, hey, Jeff, get out of there, man. There's the back door exit right there, man. Go, 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 go. And Jeff is still in there kind of, hesitant to go. He don't know where to go, and he ends up getting sacked. Or he'll get out, but then here comes a lineman that you're like, yo, you faster than him. You run a 4.56, right? I'll run him. He can't do it. So it's not, lateral quickness. It's more straight line speed that athleticism is with Jeff Driscoll. But in the 6th round, 207th pick overall, La Tech quarterback Jeff Driscoll for me is a double. There's some intriguing qualities here, and in that Chip Kelly offense, which I think is tailor-made for a guy like Jeff Driscoll. I'm really excited to see how he does in the offseason, in the preseason when he gets some snaps. I'm anxious to see how he does because with that whole mess going on at quarterback with the 49ers, Colin Kaepernick, Blake Gabbert, Jeff Driscoll to me is right there with these guys, not in terms of experience or anything like that, but I'm saying nothing's etched in stone in San Francisco is basically what I'm getting at. And I think if he's able to pick this system up, show some improvement gradually, impress Chip Kelly enough that he sticks around on this roster because we don't know how much longer. We don't know what the relationship is. There's been a million reports as to the relationship between Colin Kaepernick and the 49er staff and Chip Kelly and all that stuff. We don't know really what that is. At the end of the day, I think Jeff Driscoll has a shot to not only make this roster, but maybe get some meaningful snaps if some things happen, some injuries occur, some bad football happens, this team starts to tank. You never know. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Move on to the 6th round. Yet again, 2 more 6th rounders for the 49ers. 211th pick overall. Florida running back Kelvin Taylor is the selection. 5'10", 207 pounds. Has good agility. He has an excellent jump cut that allows him to sometimes make defenders miss, change of direction, get some extra yards. He's got the holy trinity at the running back position. Vision, feet, balance. He's got all 3. So that's a good thing for him as well. Solid hands out of the backfield. He turned me off at the combine. I didn't think he ran well. I didn't think he took directions well. I didn't think he caught the football well. I just thought Kelvin Taylor had a poor day overall. And so I soured on him at the combine. So it was good to see him actually catch the football on tape because I didn't think he could catch the football after I watched him bobble and drop numerous balls at the combine. He slithers through tiny holes. That's another pro for him. And the one best example I can give you against Tennessee has a jump cut in the hole. There's a little small tiny gap. He gets through that gap, takes off to the races, and picks up a huge chunk. We're talking second, third play of the game versus Tennessee early in that ball game. So there's a big play, and he can get through little small tiny crevices and make some big plays. Ball security. Over 500 touches while at Florida, never fumbled the football, not once. So this is a guy that you feel like you can trust with the football in his hands. He's willing to protect in pass pro. Not saying that he's great, but he's willing to put his body out there, and that's always the start. Bloodlines, of course. Dad is Fred Taylor, ex-star running back at Florida, and big-time running back at the next level for the Jacksonville Jaguars, among other teams. So, yes, this is a guy with NFL bloodlines, so you expect him to kind of figure this thing out and already know what it takes to be a back because that's been instilled in him from his father. You move to the cons. Doesn't break many tackles or possess home run hitting speed. 4.6 flat is his 40 time. And that same run I told you about against Tennessee, it was funny. I got a kick out of it because he makes that jump cut, he slithers through that hole, and there's nothing but space and opportunity, and Kelvin Taylor takes off. and the quarterback is in the background, finger up in the air. That's the universal sign for, hey, we got a touchdown. And he's running behind the play, and I'm looking at him like, no the hell you don't. That's Kelvin Taylor. He's not winning a foot race to the end zone. He even had a blocker down there holding it down for him, and he wasn't able to manipulate the block correctly. He wasn't able to use his speed to win, and he eventually got tracked down around the 8-yard line or so. They ultimately got in the end zone on a Kelvin Taylor run, but I'm just saying that's the lack of home run hitting speed. A faster back, a more dynamic back gets in the end zone on that run. He doesn't make a lot of guys miss, so there's not a lot of extra yards after contact. Normally, if you contact Kelvin Taylor, he's going down on the ground. He's not going to make anybody miss. Indecisive as a runner at times. This is what frustrates me the most about him, is that there are times where he just really doesn't know what he wants to do. Does he want to cut it back? Does he want to press the hold a little bit more? Are you going to actually stick your foot in the ground and go? I mean, what are you doing? What are you waiting on? There's some times where you're like, you're really frustrating me because you're not dynamic. You don't have game-changing speed, so you need to make up your mind. What the hell are you going to do? Are you going to cut it back? Are you going to press the hole some more? Are you going to go up the field? What are you going to do? Okay, don't stand in the backfield, though, and get tackled from that backside defender that's not even supposed to impact this play. Don't do that. So he can be indecisive as a runner at times. I look at Kelvin Taylor, and he's just a guy. Much like most of these players in this draft, he's just a guy. And when you're just a guy in the 6th round, 211th pick overall, Florida running back Kelvin Taylor is a double. You're a double. When you're just a guy, guess what? You're average. And when you're average, guess what that means? You're double. Move on to the next round, next pick, 213th pick overall. Michigan State wide receiver Aaron Burbridge is the selection. 6 feet, 206 pounds. It's a good size for a receiver. Quickness and burst. He's got some burst to him. 4.49 940. So a little bit of speed there. Really good quickness that I like. Wins on underneath routes, and he's not afraid to use physicality to win at the top of his route. You'll see him from time to time push off on a guy, which is okay. I don't mind. As long as you don't extend and make it obvious. Because guys want to lay hands on you. I see this guy get jammed at the line of scrimmage and people disrespecting the long distance speed. So they coming up in his face, deleting the airspace, and then getting up on it, they laying hands on him, being physical with him. They're going to be physical with you, be physical back. Don't let these dudes punk you. So you get at the stem of your route, you get at the top of the route, and you're looking to come back. Give him a little forearm and come back for that football, man. And he does that. He's not afraid to use physicality. You want to create some force? I'm going to use force with force, and I'm going to win this route, and I'm going to catch this underneath route, and I'm going to make something happen. So I like that about him. Great body control. I can't tell you how many times I saw this guy go to the turf on an errant throw from one of these Michigan State quarterbacks and make a play. I think of the sideline catch versus Ohio State. Just a meaningless 7-8 yard gain on the sideline, but he's over there tippy-toeing down the sidelines, keeps his feet in bounds, slides down, makes a little basket catch. Beautiful. You know, I've seen him contort his body, go down and snatch the football, making some really good plays, making the quarterback right. So I love the way he contorts his body, really good body control. He will block. He's not afraid to put his body out there, get in the way and block. He's versatile. You can play him out wide. I saw him play in the slot, and I think he's got the quickness to play in the slot, and that may ultimately be where he makes his living at the next level. We'll see. And he's also a guy that they use a lot in the run game with jet sweeps and things of that nature, so that's another element that he brings to the table as well. Great senior year production, though. It's his final pro, maybe his biggest pro, because that showed that he could handle the load. Remember, they had a number of receivers leave over the last couple of years from Michigan State, and Lippett and all of those guys. And so he was able to finally get a chance to shine. And what did he do? 85 catches, 1,258 yards, and 7 touchdowns. He was the go-to guy, and he delivered for the Michigan State Spartans in 2015. You go to his cons. Doesn't win contested balls enough for me. And I'll take it a step further. He'll drop some balls that he's supposed to catch too. Hands are a little inconsistent. I think it's more of a case of him trying to make something happen before he actually has the ball. You know the rules to the game, and play, man. Okay? You can't run and gun. You can't have fun. You can't ball without the ball. Where you going? You can't do all of those things if you don't have the pigskin. Where you going, man? Hey, I'll give you an example. Early in the Alabama game, in the playoff game, he runs a comeback route. Does exactly what I said. Uses some physicality to create some separation. Gives the cornerback a little forearm. Back off me, man. Back up. You don't know me like that, son. Back up. Comes back to the football. Perfect throw. Right in his hands. Eye level. He sees it. Boop, ski. Ball hits him. Right in the hands. Hits the turf. Gotta catch that, man. This is the playoffs. This is Alabama. This is big boy football. Gotta catch the ball. He didn't catch it. So you get that out of him. So even when he's not tightly contested, sometimes you just drop the football. Lack of focus. He can be affected by press coverage. I saw guys jack him up. I mean, come up to him, two-hand jack, boom. And he flew all back like that. Now, even in that same route where he got jacked up, he still came off, got physical at the stem of the route, came back, caught the football. But that let me know if that corner was persistent after that two-hand chuck and he flew back like that, if that corner was a savvy, wily vet, you still lay hands on him. You're like, I'm not letting you off the hook that easy. I got you here where I want you. Now I'm going to stick this one arm on you and I'm going to jack you and ride you all the way to this sideline before we get to that 5-yard buffer zone. Oh, you ain't running no damn route this time, buddy. And so that corner jacked him up. This is against Ohio State. Jacked him up. Then let him off the hook. Or it might have been Rutgers, one or the other. Watched a couple of games. But jacked him up, let him go. He came back, caught a 5-yard hook route, ended up going up the field for about 2 or 3 yards, picked up about 7-8 yards from the play. A real good corner, he won't even snip the football on that play. So I think he can be affected by press coverage at the next level. Does he have 3-level speed is the final con. All right, I talked about him being 4.49. You don't actually see 4.49 all the time. Like, he's fast. I saw him catch a pass against, I wonder, was it Rutgers? I think it was Rutgers. Right across the middle. Caught it, boom, smoked those boys, got in the end zone. Okay? Might have even been Nebraska. I think it might have been Nebraska. Caught a little slant right across the middle, boom, in stride, bam, smoked, touchdown. He can do that. But can he get deep on a guy? Can he take it to that next level, that next gear, and separate? I don't know if he has that ability. He can win with some double moves, but just talking about just pure 9 off the ball. I'm looking at you, you looking at me. It's go time. I'm about to run this 9 route. Stop me. I don't think he has that ability to just run past a dude that knows he's about to open it up and try to run this 9 route. I don't see it. In the 6th round, 213th pick overall, Michigan State wide receiver Aaron Burgridge is a double. The problem I have with this pick is I look at the 49ers roster and I look at their receivers and I say, you got like 3 of these dudes on your roster already. Okay? You got like 3 of these dudes already. That jack of all trades, none of their traits actually stands out, right around 6 feet tall, got a little bit of quickness, can play in the slot, probably don't want to put them out wide. You got about 3 of these dudes on the roster already. I'm not saying, once again, I'm just saying. Go to the final pick in this draft. 7th round, 249th overall selection, Western Kentucky cornerback Prince Charles Aroor is the pick. 5'9", 192 pounds, explosive athlete. Explosive. 4'3", 240. Yes, 4'3", 240. Guys blazing fast. 38-inch vertical. You see it on some of his plays where he's going after the football. He can get up there. For a 5'9" dude, he can go up there and contest some throws and even come down with the football. He's built physically, man. You look at him, he's chiseled. Looks like Hercules, man. Physical guy. 22 reps of 2 1/4. So he's lifting weights, pumping him up like he's a defensive lineman, outside linebacker, one of these dudes, man, real physical, okay? Speed translates to the field. This guy can run, and he's not one of these guys that's 4'3", 240, but you don't see it on tape. Nah, you see it. This guy can run. He's in the hip pocket of some of these receivers, running with him step for step. Hip pocket where it needs to be. I like that. Has some ball skills. 5 interceptions in the last 2 years, including 4 this past season. And this is a guy that, for the last 2 years, really got a chance to start. The first 2 years of his career, he really didn't get a chance to start. So, in the limited time he's had a chance to start the last 2 years, 5 INTs, including 4 last year, which means he's on that upward trajectory that I like. He's on the incline. He's going upwards. That's how I like my players coming into the league. He's got the ability to plant and drive on the football. Really good agility, okay? Stop and start, plant and drive. He's got all that quick twitchiness about him. So there's a lot here. I watched him against Southern Miss, and he's going up against Mike Thomas, who I really respect, the Rams selected him in the draft in like the 6th round, I believe. And Mike Thomas was giving him some work, but he was hanging in there with Mike Thomas on a slant that Mike Thomas scores a touchdown on. He was right there. He drove on it. He was there. He even swiped at the ball. He just was all off. He was off. So he's a guy that I think has some really good movement skills. And with time, continue to work with this guy, you could have something here in the 7th round potentially if he can make this roster. You go to his cons. He's raw. Okay, this is a guy at 5'9", 200 or 192 pounds. He was a running back, a star running back in high school. He comes to college, and that's part of the reason why he didn't play the first 2 years is because they were making that transition to cornerback. And so he's still raw. He's still got a lot to learn. And one of his biggest problems is you can get him to bite on a double move. He'll bite off a huge chunk of a double move. And Mike Thomas, I just talked about Mike Thomas. Mike Thomas got him on a double move in that championship game that they played in, the Conference USA championship game. Mike Thomas fakes the slant. It's a sluggo. Fakes the slant, goes up the field, and Prince bit on that slant. Mike got over the top on him, got a big play. So he's got some things to iron out there. But again, lack of experience will do that to you very raw. His size, 5'9", 192. What more do I need to say? What more can I say? What more do I need to say? Dude's 5'9", 192. I mean, right there, that just sounds like the slot to me. And I really didn't see him in the slot very often, so that's another question I got. And poor tackling. This dude don't tackle for nothing. And it's not for lack of trying, all right? He's out there trying to knock guys down, and I'm pretty sure he does get guys down. I'm telling you, I watched 2.5 games of this dude. I ain't seen him get nobody anymore. And I saw him try a number of times. A lot of him eating grass, man. A lot of diving, a lot of missing, a lot of trying, a lot of missing. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, 7th round, 249th pick overall, Western Kentucky defensive back Prince Charles Aurora is a double to round out this lackluster 49ers draft. Let's tally up the scores for the 49ers here. First round, home run with Defoe. Who? Defoe. I'm going to just tuck mine on in. DeForest Buckner, defensive lineman out of Oregon. Second first round pick, Stanford offensive lineman Joshua Garnett. Another home run, back-to-back jacks in the first 2 rounds for the 49ers. And then the rest of this draft consists of all doubles and singles. Will Redmond, cornerback out of Mississippi State in the 3rd round, double. Rashard Robinson, cornerback out of LSU, single. 5th round, Appalachian State defensive end Ronald Blair, double. 5th round, Georgia offensive tackle John Theus, single. 5th round, Mississippi offensive tackle Thon Cooper, double. 6th round, La Tech quarterback Jeff Driscoll, double. 6th round, Florida running back Kelvin Taylor, double. 6th round, 213th pick Aaron Burbridge, wide receiver out of Michigan State, double. And 7th round, cornerback out of Western Kentucky, Prince Charles Aurora, double. You tally all of these selections up, 2 home runs, you have a total of 7 doubles, which nets you 4 doubles bonuses and 2 singles. You tally all of that up, it's 32 divided by 11. It's a 2.91 double for the San Francisco 49ers. Like I said before, lackluster draft. I expect better from Trent Baalke. I'm not moved at all by this draft class. It's going to do it for the San Francisco 49ers in their 2016 NFL draft. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab. We'll come back and join me as I continue to break down anything and everything National Football League. Who's next? There's plenty more where that came from. While you're here, subscribe to the channel. If you want more Louie T, be sure to follow me on Twitter at InTheLabRoom, or you can like the Facebook page at In The Lab Room. That's In The Lab Room on Facebook and at In The Lab Room on Twitter. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so.